This is The Right Connection. This podcast is designed to help you choose the right words and stories in your business content to create authentic connections with prospects, clients, partners, and colleagues. Now the host of The Right Connection, Katherine Burrows.
Sheri Godfrey is a word whisperer, confidence creator, and finder of your voice. She is on a mission to help you believe in the power of your voice and the worth of your words. As you can guess, Sheri and I have a lot in common. We both love words, and we both love helping people tell their stories. Please join me as I chat with Sheri. I'm sure you'll find it as inspiring and empowering as I did. Welcome to The Right Connection.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Well, it's my pleasure. I mean, it's hard to believe that we've really only known each other for about 3 years. So much has happened, and we've interacted in so many different platforms and venues since then that it seems a lot longer.
It does seem a lot longer, and it's really kind of ironic that in a 3-year span, we've had very limited in-person interaction because the world went topsy-turvy.
Yes, I remember your first Conversations to Connect event in January 2020, and then suddenly for February, we were pivoting to online really quickly, and you did an amazing job for obviously not having any notice.
No, and it's really funny because it was, I had people messaging, say, oh, are we going to go online or are we staying in person? Are we going online? I'm like, oh, no, things will be fine. This will all be over in a couple, we'll be good. And then it was like, yeah, not so much. It was a very quick pivot, and I'm really grateful that the women in our community stayed with us and joined us online.
Yes, it's become a really strong community for sure. And you've made some pretty big changes since then. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
I believe that change is good. Most change is good. And we've all had to navigate change in the last 18 months. So we've had no choice but to really sit, I believe, and feel, where are we? Is this really what you want to be doing for the rest of your life? We now have an opportunity to press pause and really to inner reflect. So you did bring up Conversations to Connect, and Conversations to Connect was birthed for networking. It was bringing women together so that they could own their voice in business unapologetically. And that has served us really well. But like everybody else, I had to do a little bit of a shift and a pivot myself. And what I was finding is that although conversations are really great for business women, really what we were doing is we were helping each other rise. So we've changed our tagline from Conversations to Connect to Women Rise. And that's our networking series. And it's also going to be birthing a speaker series. So I want women in particular to be able to stand in their truth and their power, to share their stories and their wisdom, and to speak about life and business so that we can each learn and grow from what they've overcome and from the paths that they've carved as well.
That's exciting. And you also took over the Eastern Ontario Women in Business group as well.
I did, and I took that over during COVID. So that's a little bit of a struggle. I'm not going to lie, for anybody else who's out there who has started a business or pivoted during COVID, it's a challenge. It's a challenge when you can't meet people face to face. I believe when it comes to networking that online is great, but there's nothing better than in person. And in person gives you that energy. You can really see their body, their movements. You can see the eyes on a deeper level. So Eastern Ontario Women in Business is our umbrella, and the Women Rise is the networking piece and will be the speakers series piece. And we're in the process of shifting out our website a little bit as well, coming into a more aligned message and methodology for reaching the women online. So everyone has had to pivot, myself included. And here's the exciting thing, Katherine. Eastern Ontario Women in Business and Women Rise, helping women in particular find their voice and their message and get their message out to people, is the arms of my business. And helping women do that, and I will always help women do that. I really thought I wanted to do that en masse, that I wanted to have, this really great group that I would do 6-month programs or something of the sort and serve en masse. But here's what I know. I work really well one-on-one. When I can look into somebody's eyes and really feel who they are as a businesswoman, I can bring their voice to the table. And that is an intuitive skill that I have. So I have shifted my overall business into more of a boutique service instead of serving en masse. I'm not the Costco and I'm not the Walmart of speaking. But when it comes to drawing out someone's voice and drawing out those thoughts, one-on-one really hits my jam. And
I can definitely speak to that, having taken your Master Your Message workshop. And after several tries on my own at making my elevator pitch, for lack of a better term to call it, it was only after working with you and having your feedback at the very, very, intimate small workshop where we had a lot of one-on-one time that I really started getting those responses and those like, oh, I want to hear more. And, oh, can I book a coffee with you? Let's chat.
And that's the way that it should be. It is an intimate conversation. And not that people can't be served en masse, the 200 to 300 sitting in a room. That is plausible. But reality is I just don't work that way.
Right.
It was a really great enlightenment to discover that that's just not my jam. I'm really great one-on-one and pulling out those heartfelt emotions. I want to know that when someone's speaking their truth in their message, that it doesn't sound rehearsed, that you're not watching somebody like read the lines in their head and it's just coming out very robotic. I want it to be heartfelt. And I want it to really resonate and connect with your ideal client or your ideal audiences. That's what it's all about.
Sounds so exciting.
Super exciting. Now, I am going to tell you that the body of my work has changed. So those are the arms of my work. And I will always be serving women because it just brings me complete and utter joy. But for those who don't know, my mom is not well. So in 2019, my mom had a diagnosis with ovarian cancer and has gone through many treatments and surgeries, and we thought all was good. And she's been in a trial program since 2019. So my mom, God bless, has been in treatment every 3 weeks since 2019. And we thought everything was going swimmingly well until May of this year, when her the CAT scan in May showed that a tumor had returned. So what we have discovered is that my mom does have ovarian cancer, and there's two kinds that you can have. One is curable and one is not. And the one that is not is very aggressive. And to me, it makes perfect sense as I speak to my mom. I'm like, there's absolutely no wonder to me as to why the aggressive cancer has landed on your lap, because you are very boisterous. You are all that and then some, and you aggressively are challenged with life. So to me, it's no wonder that is what's fallen on your lap. The unfortunate news for us is that it is not curable. So although my mom has continued to go through treatments, we know it's to buy us time, not to save her long term. So we're very grateful for our medical system. But what we've also discovered is our medical system has gaps, very large gaps, where your voice is not heard and there's nobody there to speak for you. And COVID shone a bright light on that. And I've been sitting for a couple of years on somebody's website with little niggles that have been, chomping at me to do something, to be an advocate for people, to help people. And this, I believe, was also the universe's way of saying, I've been giving you little niggles and you've not listened. You need to listen more. So today actually marks my last day of studies with Douglas College. And at the end of today, providing all goes well, in a couple of weeks, I'll receive my certificate for an end-of-life doula. So the body of my work will be working with people to give them voice as their end-of-life draws near. We do have choice, and we can create plans. And creating that plan to make sure that you're looked after and that you live well as you die well, it just is making my heart sing. My mind is full, my heart is full, my soul is full. My tears are getting less and less. They will replenish. This has been an intense week of study, and the emotions that it's been drying up. I've had many tears, happy tears, sad tears, but more happy tears, knowing that I can give someone a voice right to the end.
Yeah, it's amazing what can come out of our most difficult and challenging moments, for sure.
And it's interesting because Conversations to Connect was birthed to bring women together. And I still believe this will bring women together on really heartfelt conversations. And the tagline for Conversations to Connect from the get-go was making difficult conversations easy and easy conversations meaningful. So I am bringing that brand out of the networking, and it is rebirthed into the end of life doula. So I believe what I will be doing is helping families have really difficult conversations, hoping that we can make them a little bit easier for the families. And then when we can have those really easy conversations with families, I want them to be really meaningful and impactful.
Well, for sure. It's so important. And I mean, you know, that I've gone through my own journeys, losing both of my parents. I can totally relate to what you're saying about all those conversations. And it's definitely, there's a great need for that.
There is. And I believe oftentimes we leave those conversations for when it's too late. And there's people left here trying to navigate what would they have wanted? What should we have done? What do we do next? And if we could answer all of those questions beforehand, I think it eliminates some of the fear of those ends coming near. And it allows the people, the family that is left behind, to have a more celebration and joy and really know what your best wishes would have been so that we can fulfill them. There's no guesswork anymore.
For sure. It allows you to feel like you are helping, that you are honoring their wishes and being true to what they wanted. And it, I think, takes a lot of the conflict out too, of trying to debate things at the last minute. And especially if the person who's the patient is maybe not in the best of health to make those decisions, it's so much better to have those conversations when everybody's relaxed and of sound mind and, you know, able to participate fully.
Yeah, without those extra emotions sitting aside, those heightened emotions in that moment. And it's been a glorious week just looking at how we can leave, how we can depart. You know, do you want to be in the hospital? Do you want to be at home? If you're at home, what does that look like? You know, what room are you in? Is there candles? Is there music? Who's coming? Do you want touch? So you really can plan to the best of your ability down to the last final days. Now, we all know that not all plans go swimmingly well, and that we do need to be able to pivot. And if you want to be home, you may wind up in the hospital. So there are those circumstances. And the other thing that we can do is we can start to create a life's legacy project now. Mm-hmm. So what you leave behind to your family, what you want to say to your children. Is it a recipe book? Is it a video? Are they love letters? Like, there's so many ways to get your voice out and so many ways to share those stories.
For sure.
It comes down to those stories, right, Katherine?
Stories are so important. And you know that I love stories. So I'm so excited to hear how you're using stories in this new way in your business.
My husband works in a retirement community, and there has been nothing better than sitting in the dining room with our elders and listening to their stories. Like, life has changed so fast and so rapidly. I sometimes joke, my grandson is going to think that a farm is all solar panels. Like, life has just changed so much that a solar farm is the new thing, that a lot of them have no concept of actual farms and what that brings. So the experiences that our elders have, the stories that they can share, if we can share those with the family, it's God bless. Can you imagine when we didn't have TV, or when you didn't have cable, when you couldn't run to McDonald's on lunch to get something to eat, when you actually had to put the blood, sweat, and tears in? They have so much to share and to gift us. And we have so much that we can learn with these stories. And then we can continue to pass them down generation to generation. Stories is where it's at.
Yeah, there's so many skills that you can pass down. From, something like how to can your vegetables, like a more physical skill, to life skills, like decision making and how to pick a good career and, stuff like that, that we don't always feel like we're born knowing those things. They have to be learned.
They do have to be learned. And right now, there's nothing better than taking a storybook and sitting under a tree and just disconnecting. I don't think we do that near often enough either. So it's stories, I think, from day one. It's, we read books to our little ones when they're in the womb developing so that they know our voice. And when they come out, we read them those bedtime stories. And then at some stage of the game, we stop that story sharing with our children and with others. And it is such a beautiful gift of voice that we can give somebody. And super excited to be able to bring it to light.
Yes, I still miss reading out loud those bedtime stories for sure. And now I get to share other stories of business people with their audiences. So that definitely brings me joy. And
well, and I think that you're giving the gift of word back to the adult population. And what a beautiful gift that it's not just about plugging numbers and doing that day-to-day doldrum of work, for lack of better terminology, but you're allowing somebody to really draw their story out. And whether it's business wisdom or life wisdom, we need people who can help others share the word spoken and written. And I know I do it amazingly well from a spoken perspective, and there's nobody better than you to do it from a written perspective.
I just love creating those authentic connections. And I really think stories is how we do that.
Mm-hmm. I can paint a picture with the verbal word, and you paint pictures so eloquently with the written word.
Like we share parts of ourselves, we share, stories of our families and stories of our business and all kinds of things. It's just how we connect with others. And we need more of that in this world, especially with COVID, but we needed it even before COVID.
Oh, I certainly agree. We needed it long before COVID. And I'm hoping what COVID has taught us is it has taught us to take pause, that we don't need to be overscheduled and overtasked, that you can minimize your day-to-day and still get a lot done. But most importantly, families have reconnected. We know what a family dinner table is like, and they're having conversations again. Like our little children are having conversations. God bless, it's just not by text, LOL, BRB, like they don't know how to have a complete full sentence. And that's coming back to our dinner table, which is where it all starts.
Yes, it's definitely a beautiful thing to see all those reconnections for sure.
Yeah, so you are absolutely right, Katherine, that 3 years has gone by in the blink of an eye. That change has happened all around us. We've all had to pivot. And I think if nothing else, it has given us the opportunity to tap in and really listen to our inside voice so that we can draw him or her out in a way that the world needs to see them and hear them.
So what's next for you? What's coming up this fall and into the new year?
So what's next for me is, so I'm completing my certification this week for the end of life doula. So that arm or body of my business will be launching. I'm in the process right now of needing volunteers. So if there's anybody out there who is curious as to about what's going on and what that might look like for you and your family, please reach out. I have 40 hours of volunteer work that I need to complete to be registered on the Canadian Association for Doula. So an advanced care plan or end of life plan can be done at any stage of the game. So whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 60s, your 70s, it's never too late, never too early to look at what that might be like for your family. And if you're in the younger years, it is something that can shift. It's not a one and done document. You can redraft and recraft as your kids get older or as you get married. So as life happens, it can mold and change with you. If you're interested in what a legacy project might look like, I have space to take a couple of those on for volunteer hours as well. And of course, one of the other things we do as doulas is we companion and vigil at those end of days. So if that intrigues you out of curiosity, let me know. So that's on the doula side. So that's helping people navigate the end of death conversations. I'm also looking for workplaces to go into. So financial advisors, things of those scope where we would be really good collaborations and partners. I'm looking to get out there and speak more on what this would look like for their clients and their family. And then networking. We are back to in person. I am so super excited to say that we are back the third Wednesday of every month meeting for our in-person networking sessions with business women. So that's where that is leaning towards. And that's what I have on the docket so far. And it's a pretty big undertaking at the moment. And super excited though, super excited. And I do have a couple spaces left for anyone who's looking for social media content. So bringing your voice out too in a different medium, really just bringing women's voice to the platform in any realm for their business. So if you want to intuitively tap into your words, if they get stuck up here and they just don't come out here, I can help you pull them out and have them flow out. They are recorded conversations so that you can pull out any of the little pieces that you need for future content.
Well, that sounds fabulous. I'm going to definitely put your contact information in the show notes. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you to find out more information about any of those options, they can feel free to do so.
It has been so great seeing you. And I can't wait till we can actually maybe sit and have lunch, have real connection, person to person. And for anyone who's tuning in to Katherine and I want the same for you. If there's someone that you haven't seen in a little while, things have opened up. And if you have the ability to have a coffee conversation, if someone's been thinking, someone has been on your mind and you're thinking about them, I would wager that you need to connect with them. So book a coffee date and make those really intimate personal connections that we haven't been able to do for the last 18 months.
Yes, it's time to get together and share our stories in person again. Well, thank you so much, Sheri. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. And we'll have to do this again.
You fill my cup and you fill my soul. So just a little bit of time with Katherine is just enough that you need to fill that bucket back up again. She always leaves you feeling amazingly great. So for that, Katherine, it's a gift. And I really do appreciate what you give me.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for listening today. I hope you found some inspiration for your creativity. Please join me next time for more on how words and stories help your business to create the right connection.
Thanks for listening to The Right Connection. If you have a question for Katherine, reach out to her by sending her an email, Katherine@KatherineBurrowsCreative.com, or visit her website, KatherineBurrowsCreative.com. And don't forget to follow Katherine on social media. Until next time, thanks again for listening to The Right Connection.